if all disfellowshipped ones are wicked. It depends on the situation.
No, you gave me two examples, and I'm referring to the one that is really wicked.
Okay.
Are they to be treated as a demonic individual and no association, no
But
contact,
what do you
no
mean by
creed?
demonic?
I'm asking you.
I can't answer your question. I don't know what you mean by demonic.
What does demonic mean to you?
That's the devil. You're part of the devil.
Okay. So that's the description we'll use. Is a really wicked, disfellowshipped member considered demonic in your definition?
Not always. Depends on this. Every circumstance has its own merit.
Not always, but sometimes.
Question, Your Honor.
I didn't know that he has, Your Honor.
Well, he was given an answer. Move along.
If an individual, being the expert, if an individual of your congregation were to celebrate Christmas, what kind of discipline would be taken against them? Or a birthday? And are they different?
If a person in the congregation was involved in activities like that, the elders would sit down with the individual and try to determine what's going on. The objective is, as Jesus said, if you have 100 sheep and one's lost, leave the 99 and go find the one. So the objective is to help that individual. Whether it's worshiping something like that, or Christmas, celebrating Christmas, or fornication, or whatever it happens to be. The elders will meet with that individual based on the person's attitude at that time, will have a direct relevance to what they do.
So if they celebrate Christmas, there will be some action taken. To what degree is the question?
Depends on each situation is different. You're trying to get me to stereotype all of those, and they're all different.
No,
in my 25 years, every one of them are different.
I don't want to argue with you. I'm just giving you a hypothetical. If you were to celebrate Christmas, there would be some action taken.
The elders would meet with the individual to determine the situation.
And there could be some discipline, because at times discipline is necessary
There could be.
to cleanse the organization.
No, to help the individual. Helping the individual is number one.
Okay. That's all I have, Your Honor. Oh, one more question. Excuse me. Is there a custody packet? Are you familiar with that?
Custody packet?
Yes, sir.
I've never heard of a custody
Never heard of it?
packet.
Does the headquarters or the congregation, if they have local autonomy, do they ever sit down and consult with children or parents if there's a custody dispute going on?
Let me make sure I understand that. Does the local congregation sit down and discuss a strategy or a package or something?
Yeah, let's say one of the elders, there's members of the congregation, they're going through a custody battle, and they have some questions religiously, and they go to their elder, or maybe come to you as an overseer. Do you have some direction from headquarters as to how to deal with them, how to answer them? Is there a custody packet published by headquarters to assist you with that?
In my 25 years of doing this, I have never seen a custody packet, never heard the term used until just now. As far as will the elders sit down, we'll sit down with any one of the members that's having whatever the problem is, and we'll help them, we'll discuss with them, we'll look at ways that if they have questions, we'll deal with it. If it has a legal implication, we have access to attorneys in Brooklyn that we can talk to.
So if one of your elders, at least as much as 6 months ago, were to have testified that he had a custody packet and used it, you're not familiar with that, never heard of it?
I have never heard of a custody packet.
Have no idea what he's talking
I've
about.
been doing this a long time.
Custody book, does that make any difference?
Custody book, I've never heard of a custody book.
Thank you. Nothing for the Your Honor.
Further questions?
Mr. Johnson, is that appropriate? Are you Mr. Johnson or Elder Johnson?
We do not have titles.
Okay. What is a sin What do you consider to
Well,
be
if you
a
go to the
sin?
Greek word that sin's taken from, it means missing the mark. That's what the Greek word means.
Okay.
So when it comes to God, He asks us to do certain things. If we miss the mark, we sin.
Okay. Would it imply in a sin? Would it imply that you have to know better?
Not really. Sometimes you hear the old saying, ignorance of the law is no excuse. That's not true with God. God is so loving and merciful that if you make a mistake and you were ignorant, He understands that.
Okay. Would that person who makes a mistake ignorantly be held to the same level of accountability as someone who knows that what they're doing is wrong and decides to do it anyway?
I realize you're short on time. I could take you to a scripture right now and just let the Bible answer that. The Bible has a fine answer for that. It says if you know and sin, you're doubly accountable.
So there's a higher level of accountability.
Absolutely. That's what
Now,
the Bible says.
If somebody's a member in good standing in the church, well, the organization, they know that the organization does not believe in celebrating Christmas, and they decide to celebrate Christmas, would that be cause for concern to the elders?
Absolutely.
Because they're going against what they have been taught is their belief, right?
Yes.
Okay. The gentleman earlier said that if a Jehovah's Witness celebrated Christmas, they would be automatically disfellowshipped. Is that true or not
That's
true?
totally false. Totally. Unequivocally.
What would happen to a person who just decided, I'm going to get a Christmas tree and celebrate Christmas, and what will...
Mr. Jensen, you're going to make that question hypothetical. You're going to have to mean an elder of the church.
Let's say an elder.
An elder of the church.
Yes. Would that
Celebrates
be cause for
Christmas.
concern?
The other elders would talk to that individual immediately, check out. If all of a sudden one of the elders took up visiting Las Vegas and some of the brothels down there, same thing.
That'd be cause for concern.
There'd be cause for
Is it
concern.
automatic disfellowship?
No.
The elders would talk to that man.
The elders would talk to the individual. It's not the act that is the issue. It's the person's attitude toward the act.
Okay. Maybe their level of knowledge, their intent, is that covered in attitude?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, one more thing I'd like to emphasize is for every 6 or 10 people you bring in here that have had bad experiences, I can bring 100 people that have been disfellowshipped that'll sit up on this stand and tell you it's the best thing that ever happened to them in their life. Because they were disciplined and they seen what they were doing wrong, they were helped to understand it, and they moved forward with their life.
Is the disfellowshipping process part of the repentance process?
Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 7 says that God disciplines those He loves. So we feel that as a secondary, the first thing of disfellowshipping is a protection of the congregation, as I stated earlier. The secondary thing is discipline to the individual. And it sometimes shocks them into understanding, hey, that conduct wasn't right, and I'm going to do it. If I want to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses and enjoy a relationship with my Creator, here's what I'm going to do to adhere to that. And they will change what they're doing and then be reinstated in the current. Thousands are reinstated every year, just exactly like what you just said.
Okay. Can a person be disfellowshipped who has not been baptized?
No.
No. So if I were to tell you that a 7-year-old girl was invited to a Christmas party who had not been baptized,
Her father would certainly have, he's the head of the family, he'd have to be talked to on why his family's engaging in conduct like that.
okay.
But she's not one of Jehovah's Witnesses until she's baptized. She would not be dealt with from a disfellowshipping standpoint.
Okay. would she be, let me use the word shunned, even though we know that the organization does not use that word?
She would be helped. She would be loved and helped.
Thank you. All right.
Can I ask a couple of follow-up questions, Shauna? Be real brief. I need to approach the witness if I could. I only have one copy. These are some quotes or citations. I guess we can follow up if you want to. From the WatchTower magazine, you said that was one of 2 magazines that come from the headquarters in New York. Did you read this first statement?
1952.
WatchTower. Let me ask you about that. Has the doctrine of the organization changed in the last 40, 50 years?
Well, you keep using the term doctrine. Doctrine is a term that's used for things like Trinity and things like that. This type of stuff is behavior. It's personal conscience is involved. Doctrine is a word that, in my mind, that is not covered by what you're talking about here.
How you treat this fellowship to persons has changed over the years.
A lot of things have changed over the years. Yeah,
Is that a yes or no?
Yes. Wait a minute. The way we treat this fellowship people has changed over the years?
That's the question.
Yeah. Let me read this, though, and see what you're driving at.
Read it out.
Because this is one little sentence that could be way out of context. Who knows where it came from? The WatchTower publication of Jehovah's Witnesses state how they are to treat. Did this come off of the apostate website? Do you know? Did it?
No, it's cut and paste out of a WatchTower volume.
But I mean, the part that says the WatchTower publications.
Just read it and see if you can answer it. If you can't tell us, let's move along.
Well, I was just involved in some Olympic things down in Salt Lake for where I work at O.C. Tanner, and I was involved in a situation where a bunch of Baptists were at one of the meetings.
This is non-responsive. I
Yeah,
just need to read
let's
it.
go ahead
Okay.
and see what.
We must hate in truest sense, which is to regard with extreme and active aversion, to consider as loathsome, odious, filthy, to detest. I have a quote from a recent WatchTower that does show the latest thought on
No,
that.
I don't want that. Is this accurate as far as you know?
In 52 it was.
It was in
It's
52.
changed now.
So that policy, whatever you want to call it, has changed.
Yep.
Okay. But that was accurate back then.
In 52 it was, 50 years ago.
1981. Read that one there.
Okay. Would upholding God's righteousness and his disfellowshipping arrangement mean that Christians should not speak at all with an expelled person, not even saying hello? A simple hello to someone can be the first step that develops into a conversation. Okay, it has ... after that. If you was to read the rest of it, this is accurate. The 81 is one of our magazines referred to. In fact, I have a copy of the whole paragraph here.
I read it.
And what it's saying is a hello may start you into fellowshipping.
May open the door.
Yeah, so
So
be aware of
that-
that.
Don't say hello.
Doesn't say that, does it?
That's what I'm asking you.
No, it doesn't say that. It says a hello may start fellowshipping. Be careful.
So say hello.
It doesn't say not to.
Well, what does it mean? A simple hello opens the door. So what does
So
that
be
mean?
careful. Do not associate. Do not fellowship. Disfellowship means don't fellowship.
Okay.
You ran into somebody at the store, and they come around the aisle, and there they are, and they run right into you, and they say hi, you say hi. It's your main thing to do.
Is there a Jehovah's Witnesses organizational manual?
Jehovah's Witnesses organizational, man, never heard of one.
Never heard of
This is obviously apostate.
that. Well, let me correct you. You said these were all accurate quotes. Is that right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? That first quote, you said it was accurate,
In
but it was old.
52.
Okay.
The
You said the second one was
is accurate, but it's taken out of context.
Okay, so it's not apostate. They're from your magazines,
No,
the congregations.
Well, counsel, I think we're just getting into argument.